Christina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bracelet that will match these earrings that I made in my previous tutorial. I think I called them Petite Sparkling or Petite Sparkles. I think something like that. So this will be the Petite Sparkle bracelet. And it is really very pretty. I'm going to zoom in on the units so you can see what they look like. And they're really very pretty. I think this turned out gorgeous. Now, my bracelet is a little bit big. When I did this, I left it only a half an inch short of the length I wanted, which wasn't quite enough. I was using a small clasp, so I thought that I needed to do that. And I thought maybe my embellishments would shrink it down. They did not. So I ended up with an 8-inch bracelet. So when I tell you to make 13 units, you may elect to make 10 or 12. Just make sure you leave a full inch short of the length that you want to achieve when you do this. Make sure that you end with a little right angle weave unit on both sides, but just adjust the units in between as much as you think is necessary. But anyway, this is what it looks like on the arm. It is really very, very pretty. And let's look at what we need. Oh, and here are the earrings that I made in my last tutorial to go with it too. So it's a pretty match. Anyway, let's look and see what we need to make this bracelet today. Okay, for this project today, you're going to need a little clasp. I'm using a gold tone toggle clasp. It's a rather small one for this bracelet since it's such a dainty little thing. And then you're going to need 2 colors of 11-0 seed beads. And I am using the Starlight in the Toho line, which is the galvanized gold tone 11-0 seed bead. And then I'm using a cream colored gold lined opaque Toho for my other 11-0. And then you will need some bicone crystals. These are 4mm bicone crystals, and this is Swarovski blue zircon. And then you will need 15-0 seed bead, and this is also Starlight in the Toho line. It's the galvanized gold tone color seed bead. Then you will need some Fireline in a size 10, or not Fireline, you can use Fireline. This is Nanofil, and this is 10 pound. And you can use 8 pound Nanofil or 8 pound Fireline or 6 pound Fireline. All of those should work. And I'm going to be using a size 10 beading needle also. So go ahead and put 2 wingspans of Fireline onto your needle and we'll get started. Okay, to start this project, put a couple wingspans of thread onto your needle. Remember, you will always have to extend, so you may just want to put a comfortable length that you like to work with, and just know that you'll have to extend sometime in your project. So we're going to start by picking up 4 of our second color 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to use the gold as my first color and as my main color, and the cream colored 11-0 as my second color. So I'm going to pick up 4 of them onto my needle like so, and I'm going to bring it down to the end of my thread, and then I'm going to go back up through the very first one I put on my thread on the tail side and pull like so. I'm going to sew back through this little unit that I just made. I'm going to sew back through all of them, and when I'm doing any kind of right angle weave unit like this, I always do 1 unit at a time, just because I want them to keep a nice shape. Right here where your tail and your working thread is going to meet, you're going to want to tie a little tiny knot between the beads. And then, and keep the knot small so that it doesn't block your beads. And then we're going to sew back down this unit, and I will show you. I know my thumb's over it. So I'm coming out of this bead now. My knot is here. I traveled through this bead. I'm going to go through this one and exit here. So we'll go through here and then through this one here. And then we will pick up 11 seed, or not 11, 12 seed beads of the second color. So this is my second color 11-0, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up 12 of them. So there's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, like this. Now I am going to bring these down to my little unit that I just created, like so. And then I'm coming out of this side. Let's get just a tiny bit closer. I'm coming out of this side of my 11-0. I'm going to go into the opposite side from which my thread is exiting, and I'm going to pull these beads into a circle like this. And then I'm going to start sewing back through all of these beads. So I'm going to sew through several of them, pull my thread through, and then I'll just sew through several more. Oops. And I'm going to sew until I get to the little white bead I'm connecting in, and I'm going to exit. I am not going to go through this white 11-0 seed bead right here. Now, I'm going to stay zoomed in pretty close at this point, because what we're going to do is we're going to skip over this white bead, and we're going to continue sewing through 3 of the first gold beads on the other side of the white bead. So I'm just going to skip over that white bead. We do not want to include it in our next thread. And then we will pick up 3 of the gold beads after that bead. I only got 2, so I'm going to pick up 1 more. And I'm going to exit. So come through, skip over the white bead, go into 3 beads, and exit. Make sure you have a tiny bit of slack in your thread. Don't have them pulled really tight, because we're going to add more beads in between the beads that are already on the thread. So I'm coming out of this 3rd bead. I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead of my second color, and I'm going to go into the next 3. Now this is what we did on the earrings tutorial also. So this should be familiar if you watched that one or if you have made those. Now I'm exiting the next set of 3 of my gold seed beads. I'm going to pick up a white seed bead, and then I'm going to go into the next 3 here and pull that one down in between. Then I'm going to pick up another white, and I'm going to go down into the 3 gold seed beads behind the section of beads that I'm going to go into the next 3 and exit. How's that? I'm kind of tired, so I'm not speaking well. Okay, so now I'm coming out of this little gold bead right here. I'm going to go into the white bead right here that we started in, our little right angle weave unit. Now we're going to put an embellishment on top of this unit. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, and then we're going to pick up a bicone crystal, and then we're going to pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, like so. So you've got 2 15-0s, a bicone crystal, and 2 15-0s, and then you're coming out of this side of this little 11-0 here. You're going to find the opposite 11-0 in the unit you just made, and go into the opposite side of that 11-0, like so. Now, the reason we're skipping over and doing a diagonal stitch is because it holds the beads together a little tighter as we sew back through the embellishment to get back to our next unit. So I know they're going to end up laying straight, and you're going to wonder why I'm crisscrossing them, but there is a reason for it. It does hold the beads, and it's easier to travel through them. So now we're going to pick up 2 more 11 seed bead or 15 seed beads. We're coming out of this side of this 11 seed bead. We're going to go up into the bicone crystal, and then we're going to go into the opposite side that we came out of this side into the opposite bead. So we're just crisscrossing, and we're going to go into this side here. Whoops. We have to pick up two 15 seed beads first. Let me back out of here. Pick up two 15 seed beads. And then we're coming out of this crystal, we're going to go into the 11 seed bead now, like so. And then I'm going to turn my unit a little bit, and I'm going to go up these two 15 So I'm coming out of this 11 seed bead here. I'm going to go up these two 15 and into the bicone and pull my thread through. It's caught. Pull this through. Sometimes a size 10 beading needle kind of gets caught in the 15 And then we're coming out of the bicone crystal. We're going to go up into these two 15 here in our embellishment. Pull the thread through. Yeah, see there's the 15 that's just really tight on there. I'm going to pull that through, and then I'm going to go into this 11 here. Then, now that I'm exiting this 11 and the very end of my unit, I'm going to pick up 3 more 11 seed beads. And then I'm coming out of this side, I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 11 I'm exiting from, and I'm going to pull a unit of right angle weave down like this. Now, I'm going to turn the unit a little bit and just sew back through this entire little unit I just made, so that it's secure and in nice shape. And because this is a joint in our bracelet, we want to make sure that it's strong. So now I've sewed around the entire unit. Let me back off just a little bit. Now I'm going to go up into this bead and this bead. So I'm in the connecting bead here. I'm going to sew up into the top bead of the unit I just made. Here, and then we will make another of these diamond shaped units. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up 12 of your 11 seed beads in your main color. So there's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I'm coming out of this side of the 11 seed bead. I'm going to go into the opposite side from which I'm exiting, and I'm going to pull these into a loop. Now, the same as we did last time, we're going to sew back around this loop, and when we get to the end of these gold beads, we're going to skip over the white bead and go into this side of white beads and then exit the third bead. So let's go ahead and sew around it, like so. Just pick up several beads. Don't pull real tight because you need to leave a little bit of slack in each one of these units. So as you add your white beads in between the beads existing on the thread already, you will have room for them to be, and they won't squash out and be all weird, because they will if there's no room for them. So now I have sewn all the way around my unit. I'm exiting this gold bead. I'm going to skip over the white bead, and I'm going to go into 3 of the gold beads on the other side of the white bead, right here. Out of camera. There we go, right here. And pull. Now I'm going to pick up an 11-0 seed bead in my white color, and I'm going to go up into the next 3. So I'm exiting the 3 right after this white bead. I'm going to pick up a white one and then go through the next 3, like so. And then I'll pick up another white seed bead, and I will go into the next 3 gold beads and exit and pull the white bead down into place. Pick up another one. I'm exiting this 3rd one. I'm going to go into the next 3. And you can also go up into the white bead here if you can get into it. It's kind of at an angle that it's difficult to get into though. Just pull that one down into shape so you have a nice little tight triangle, or not triangle but diamond shape. Go into the connecting 11-0 and exit, and then pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, and 2 15-0s. You're coming out of this 15-0 on this side, go to the opposite 15-0 on the opposite side, or not 15-0, excuse me, 11-0. Go to the opposite 11-0 on the opposite side and pull this little embellishment down, and then pick up 2 more 15-0 seed beads, go into the bicone crystal, put your thumb on top of the crystal just to hold everything in place, and pull through again. And I've got some more of those 15-0s that are just going to be pain in the rear end. Pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, and we're coming out of the bicone crystal. We're going to go into the opposite side from which we started in the bead we're connecting to, like so. Now I'm going to turn this, and then I'm going to come up these 2 15-0 seed beads on this side into the bicone crystal, and pull my needle through. Tighten it up, make sure the embellishment is nice, and then I'm going to go into these 2 15-0 seed beads, and then I'm going to go into the 11-0 seed bead on my unit right here, like so. Now we're going to make another unit of right angle weave. So pick up 3 of your second color, come through, secure it, and once you're into the connecting bead, sew up to the top bead in the unit. So I'll go into this side bead here, into this top bead here, and then I will pick up 11-0s in my gold color, or not 11, excuse me, 12. I don't know why I keep saying 11. 3, 6, 9, 12, like so. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going to go into the opposite side of the bead I'm coming out of, and then I am going to sew around these beads again, to secure them, and I'll just sew until I come out of the last gold bead next to the white bead I'm connecting to. And pull them into a circle, and then I'm going to skip over the white bead, and I'm going to go into the gold beads on this side. I'm going to exit the 3rd gold bead after I pass the white bead that we're connecting to. I'm going to go into the 3rd gold bead in my loop that I just created, make sure I have a little slack in there, and then I'll pick up a white bead and go into the next 3 gold beads, pull that bead up and pop it into place, pick up a white bead, go into the next 3 gold beads, pull that down into place, pick up a white bead, go into the next 3 gold beads, and the white bead that I am attaching to. Now we'll do one more embellishment, and then we'll go to length, and then we'll be back to do our next embellishment after we finish this one. So pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, a bicone crystal, 2 15-0 seed beads onto your needle, like so. Now we're coming out of this white bead right here. We're going to find the opposite one and the opposite side, like so, and we're going to pull. And then we'll pick up 2 15-0 seed beads. We'll go into the bicone crystal, put your thumb over the top of the bicone crystal, pull the thread through, like so, and then pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, go into the opposite side of the bead that you started in, go into the opposite side from which you started, and pull. Tighten the embellishment, make sure it looks good, and then sew back down through the embellishment by going into the 2 15-0 seed beads that are closest to where your thread is exiting, and then go through the bicone crystal, and then go through the 2 15-0s on the opposite side underneath the bicone crystal, pull through, and then pop up into the little white 11-0 in your original part of your unit. Make sure your embellishment looks good. Pick up 3 11-0 seed beads. You're coming out of this side. We're going to go into the next side. And then after you pull this down, secure it and start your next unit. You will continue until you have 13 units. Just count each one of the triangle or the diamond shaped units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Don't count the little right angle weave units. Just the diamond shaped ones. Now, if you want to make a shorter bracelet, of course, you can eliminate some of these units. Just make sure you start with a right angle weave unit and you end with a right angle weave unit. So this is going to make about a 7.5 inch bracelet. Now, I have made this to the point to where it is just about a 1/2 inch short, or maybe just right at an inch, right around there, of how long I want it to be. Now we're going to put our clasping on. So that's how you can judge how long you'll want yours to be too. Just make it right about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that, short of the length you want. Now I'm saying something like that because it depends on how much movement you want in your bracelet. I'm using a small clasp, so I went a little bit shorter. I went not quite a full inch short, longer of my bracelet because my clasping is small. Now, if you're using a bigger one, you will have to leave more space. So, what we're going to do now is we're coming out of this little 11-0 here after making our last unit of right angle weave and securing it on the very last unit. What we're going to do now is we're going to pick up 2 15-0 seed beads and an 11-0, and I'm going to use the white colored 11-0. And I'm going to get you a little closer here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to drop these 2 15-0s and 11-0 down to my work. Then I'm going to go through my clasp, like so. I'm going to bring this down to my work, and then I'm going to go back through just the 11-0 seed bead that I have on my thread, and then I'm going to hold on to these beads, and I'm going to pull this thread through and pull my clasping down to the 11-0. Then I'm going to pick up 2 more 15-0 seed beads onto my needle, like so. I'm coming out of the 11-0 seed bead here. I'm going to go into the opposite side of the 11-0 seed bead that I'm connecting to. So I started in this side, I'm going to go to the other side and pull this thread through like so. And that makes a nice little connection for your clasping. Now you have to sew back up through this a couple of times to secure it, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have secured my clasping. Now let's get a little close so you can see what it looks like. And now I'm coming out of this 11-0 seed bead here. I'm going to sew down into this one right here. So just go through the little side arm of the right angle weave here. And now we're going to start some embellishments down this side of the bracelet. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a 15-0 seed bead. And this is what I have on my needle. I'm coming from this bead right here. I'm going to slide into the bead that's sticking out on the end of the diamond shape here and pull. Make sure that you get that down in there nice and neat, and then pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a 15-0 seed bead, like this. Go from this bead to this bead, right here. And let me back off just a little more. And we're just going to continue doing this embellishment down the entire length of the bracelet. So I'm going to pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a 15-0 seed bead. And I'm coming out of this middle bead right here. I am going to go into this bead right here. Pull tight, make sure my embellishment is nice. Pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a 15-0 seed bead. I'm going to go from this bead to the center bead in my right angle weave between my diamond shaped units, like so. And that's what that should look like. And just continue doing that all the way to the end of the bracelet, and we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished one entire side of my embellishment, and now I am coming out of this little 11-0 seed bead right here. I'm going to cut this tail down. I'm not going to burn it off. I'm just going to cut it down at this point so that it's not totally in my way. And then I'm coming out of this side bead right here from putting my last embellishment on. I'm going to go into this top bead right here. And then I'm going to pick up 2 15-0 seed beads, and then my second color 11-0. I'm going to drop these down. I'm going to grab my other end of my clasping, and I'm going to go through it. Bring it down. I'm going to go through the 11-0 seed bead right here. I'm going to hold on to my beads, and I'm going to pull the clasp down like so. Then I'm going to pick up 2 15-0 seed beads onto my needle, and I'm going to go into the opposite side in the bead that I'm connecting to, opposite side from which I started, that is. Like this. Now I'm going to sew back through this, and let's see what it looks like here. I'm going to sew back through this. I'm just going to ignore this little tail until I get this nice and secure. I will come up through this bead here and start my embellishments. Let's go ahead and secure this and we'll be back. Okay, so I have secured my clasping. I'm coming out of the bead that I connected my clasping to. I'm going to sew down into the side bead of this little unit of right angle weave right here. Let's back off a little bit. I am going to, at this point, burn my tail down gently because I don't want to burn my working thread. And tuck that in a little bit. And I didn't get that burnt very well, but I'll go back and do that. You get the gist. Now, I am going to start my embellishments. So I'm coming out of this bead right here. I'm going to pick up a 15-0, a bicone crystal, and a 15-0. I'm coming out here. I'm going to go into this little bead that's peaked up on the side of the diamond shape here and pull it through. And then again, I will pick up a 15-0 seed bead, a bicone crystal, and a 15-0 seed bead like so, and I will go from here to here. And just like we did on the other side, we will continue this embellishment down the entire length of the bracelet, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have finished both sides of my embellishment now. Let's get up close, and I'm going to show you where I'm coming out now. So I just put this last embellishment on. I'm coming out of this 11-0 seed bead here. I'm going to sew up into this one that I've connected my clasping to. I'm going to grab, make sure that your last row of embellishments are nice and tight and look very good. And then let's grab a half hitch knot on this thread bridge between the beads here in the little right angle weave unit right here, and then sew down into the next bead. So down into this middle one right here. So up into this one here. And again, right between this bead and this bead, grab the thread bridge and make a half hitch knot. Making sure that your thread or your knot pulls down between your beads and not on top of them, like so. And then go back into this bead again, and then sew down into this one here, if it gets a little thread tight, just have a pair of flat nose pliers or chain nose pliers nearby to pull them through. Go through here again, go up through this bead again, and then cut off your thread. And then burn this tail that we leave down into a blob, like so. Now, I'm going to measure this bracelet because even though my clasping is small, it was oval shaped, and I ended up, I think, with a little bit big of a bracelet. So you may want to make sure that you leave an inch, inch and a half, something like that short. Probably an inch, a full inch. Mine was about a half an inch. Short of the length you want. Let me get something to measure this with, and we'll see how long this is. Because this is an 8-inch bracelet. So you may want to go 12 units and then, or 10 units even, just test it around your wrist, because I thought perhaps my embellishments would shrink it down some. It didn't do that. So it became a little bit longer bracelet. My wrist is right at 7 inches, maybe a little under 7 inches. So an 8-inch bracelet is a little big for me. It wants to fall down my hand usually, but I kind of like to have some movement on it. So let's see what it looks like here. That's not too bad. I mean, it comes down on my hand, but a little bit too much. I'd rather have it about a half an inch shorter. but you can kind of judge that as you're making it. And this is what it turned out like. This is absolutely beautiful. I mean, I'm really very happy with the result of this. I'm going to lay it down, zoom in so you can see what it looks like. It's a very, very pretty design. And here are the little earrings that go with it. I've got them all wadded up. So let's do this. And zoom in on it a little bit so you can see it. And then I'm going to get even closer so you can see each individual unit, how pretty they are. So that's how pretty, whoops, blop, a big old blur. That's how pretty that is. So just bend it so you can see it. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And I believe I may be making a necklace for this too, but I'm out of these bicones, so it'll have to be a different color. I only have like 6 or 7 of these blue zircon left, so I will probably make a necklace, but like I said, it'll be in a different color. Or maybe I'll do silver and blue or something, since this is gold and kind of a greenish tone. Anyway, bye-bye.